This is Eddie with Vinyl Buzz, and I'm here with Geoff Rickly from Thursday. That's good. How's it going?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm not too bad. I'm doing right now. All right, so, you know, this is a website for vinyl collectors, so my first question will be, do you collect vinyl?
I do.
You do. What was your first purchase?
That's tough. I mean, I started my vinyl career by ruining my mom's Beatles 7-inches or 45s. I played them on a Fisher-Price record player with the blue one with the yellow arm, plastic needle. She was less than thrilled when she saw what I did. So she had all, you know, first run, everything, but she doesn't anymore. And so I kind of figured that's my first purchase. It was just made with my mother's blood and sweat and tears, you know, rather than currency.
Kind of bums me out.
Yeah, it's good. As a vinyl collector, it's pretty heartbreaking.
A little bit. Was she a collector?
She only Beatles collector. She was just, you know, fan.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
What would you say your most precious album is that you own now?
On vinyl? Probably there's the UNI 7-inch. That was like their first 7-inch, and it's like, you know, it was like one of the early Screamo records that had, like, you know, they burned the sleeves with, you know, matches so that they would be all worn and cool, and you know, I just appreciate that. And they were a seminal band for me, and you know, it's also fun that it's really rare and hard to find. People geek out about it.
What would be like the album that you don't have yet, but you're doing it for?
It's still a good question. I guess there are probably a few. I guess I would really like the City of Caterpillar record on vinyl. Then for older stuff, I really wish I had Astral Weeks by Van Morrison.
You know, I actually picked a random record out of my collection to give you.
Okay.
Totally random.
Really?
I had to bring you a gift.
That's awesome, man.
So,
Thank you.
Let's see what we got in
That's
here.
so kind. Yeah.
Not Thursday.
You can't give me one.
Alright.
There's some of them I don't have.
What's this guy?
Oh, amazing.
What's that?
Yay. What up? This is awesome. What year is this from?
The 80s.
Oh, yeah, this is the 80s. This is the
later
little sexual
one.
healing on it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you know.
Great. What a great song, man.
That's when you were supposed to cut in. But
Sexual healing.
there we go. Well, that's for you.
Alright. Thank you, man. Awesome.
What band from the 90s would you bring back now?
Oh, I mean, for me it would... Well, they were a decade-spanning band, but to me they were a 90s band because that's when I really got into them. Fugazi. I'd love to see Fugazi again. I got to see them maybe 4 or 5 times, but they were like magic every time. And I had a friend actually who went to see them with the Butthole Surfers opening, and he took acid before the show. And he was like, yeah, man, Butthole Surfers came out, and like there was this girl doused in gasoline with clothespins like pinched on her skin all over. She just like dropped the match on herself, and all the clothespins went like flying off on fire, and then she like washed herself off and they started their set. He's like, you know, I was tripping. He's like, but Fugazi were so much more intense. He's like, I could see the actual physical electricity between the different members and how much chemistry they had. He's like, I could see that it was real. And I was like, yeah, you were tripping. He's like, no, but in this case, it was just showing me the real thing that was happening between them. And I kind of believe that. So now that he's told me that, I want to see that energy again.
What was the first time as like a band that you guys realized, you know, we made it? We had like thousands of fans. And what like ran through your mind?
It sort of didn't really sink in. I think until it had already happened for a little while. Because shows just kept getting bigger and we kept opening for other people, so we were just always like, they're just here for the other band and they happen to think we're okay. Like we were just convinced that's all that was happening. People kept on saying like, oh, I've been seeing your video on MTV, and we were like, they don't know who we are, like they're thinking of somebody else. And then I got home from tour with Saves the Day, and it was like Christmas time, and I got home like to visit my parents, and they were like, no, seriously, your video's been on TV like a lot. And they just left the TV on, and like every 15 minutes it just kept coming on and on and on and on and on. And I remember asking our booking agent what we should do next, and he's like, are you kidding? I already booked a headlining tour. There's like 2,000 capacity venues. They're all sold out. And I was just like, it was like that weekend that I was just like, oh, some of those people on the Save the Day tour actually did like us. You know what I mean? It's just like sort of like put like a lot of the stuff that was going on before that year into perspective, where it just happened. It had been happening, but I didn't see it until that moment, and then all of a sudden I was nervous. I was like, oh no, we're about to have to do this tour, and people think we're good, but we're not ready for that yet. You know what I mean? It's kind of my fault. But I guess that's how it always happens when you're not ready for it.
Yeah. I think right before Full Collapse was released, you played a show, and everyone was, you know, singing along with your music, and you didn't, you know, you're like, how did they know the words, you know? And you asked someone after the show, and they told you they downloaded it, and you're like, what's downloading, you know? That was before, like, downloading was really big. Yeah. And so, would you be for or against Dreaming Not Downloading?
Well, you know, it was a funny thing. I remember that show was at the Wetlands in New York, which isn't even around anymore, but yeah, I remember it so clearly. I was like, because at first I thought they were doing that thing where you kind of pretend to sing along, and then I was like, no, but they're right. Like, I can hear them. They're singing the right words, and I remember it just sounded so awesome. Like, they downloaded the music. How did they get the music? Like, this means that even before I show up in your town and try to sell you my CD, you already know about it. Like, that's even better, you know? Because I always kind of thought of CDs as a flyer to get people to come to shows, you know? Because that's where the real thing happens, where you connect with people. So for me, I was always like, yeah, download it. That's awesome. Like, what would be wrong with that, you know? And then years later, when nobody's buying records at all, you're like, oh yeah, it was way easier to tour and do things when people bought records, but I'm not mad at it, you know? It's just a changing of times, and people that love music just gravitate towards better versions of it, you know what I mean? Like deluxe editions that are actually like done by artists by hand, or, you know, beautiful vinyl packages and things like that. So to me, it's just sort of separating like the casual fans from the people who like depend on music, like, and love it and like fetishize it and make it like their lives, you know what I mean? And I think that's a good thing, to separate the casual from like the fanatics, you know?
What to you makes Epitaph superior to all of them? You know, it seems like you've been going.
Yeah, no, Epitaph is just a really beautiful group of people who love their bands, and I think having the owner be like a veteran of a 30-year band is it's really like all you kind of need to know about what runs them. You know what I mean? Like, because there are years when Bad Religion wasn't on top, and it was sort of like a labor of love, you know. And I think that when he's had that experience, and he knows, you know, he knows the difference between a fad and a band that means something to people, then he knows that for, you know, younger artists too. He knows how to encourage you and how to take care of you. You know, honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about Brett. He's been just so supportive, and he just hires great people. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like that whole attitude permeates the label. You know what I mean?
Are they giving you more creative control than the past labels?
Well, you know, it's like I don't really ever feel like we like lost creative control, but you don't have creative encouragement at most places. If you're encouraged to do something different, and then you're fighting like against the tide, sometimes that works for you. Like, can give you like a cool vibe, but it's a lot. It's an amazing feeling to have people who are just like, yeah, cool. This was a great idea. This is jaw dropping. This is new. This is like, really?
Oh, for sure.
Wow. Okay. Like, you didn't just say there are no singles like every other label. There's like, I remember when Tony from Victory got Full Collapse, he was like, there's no singles on here. And we were like, oh, bummer. I guess. I don't know. We weren't trying to write singles.
Recently, you guys just recently released the info that you're going to be going on a long-term hiatus.
Right.
So what band would you, so to say, pass the torch on to take your place?
Oh man, there are so many great bands out there right now. Like, coming from the same place that we came from, the same roots that we came from. Like, all the bands like La Dispute, Touche Amore, Pianos Become the Teeth. Like, I love those bands. Like, I just see like a passion and enthusiasm in them that makes me really excited. You know, I don't think musically we're even that similar, but the way that we felt about it, like the way that we felt about it when we were younger, which obviously you get older and things change, like to see that spark ignited again in them is just really exciting, and to have them like look to us as like one of the bands that got them into music it's really nice. Like, I don't feel like we're leaving people without something that can fill the same spot in their heart, you know what I mean? I think there's like, it's just, I think, you know, it's not about like the music or what it sounds like or how good any of the singers or players or any of that. Like, it's just about like that passion, you know, that feeling that they give you.
And now that you're gonna have more free time, well, I don't know if you're going to, but are you gonna use that time to focus on doing more with United Nations?
Well, I mean, a bunch of the guys have other stuff going on, but yeah, we've talked about doing more United Nations stuff. Just sort of like as an added bonus,
Yeah.
having a little bit of time, you know. It would never be like the thing that we break up one band from the other or anything like that. But yeah, I think I'll probably see some more UN stuff.
What was the main reason that you guys decided on to make this song in 30 separate ways?
Just something kind of personal happened to one of the members, and just made it. It just sort of, all I can say is that it broke the spirit of the band. We could have kept going, but we just knew it wouldn't be the same ever again, and not in a good way of like changing and, you know, things not being the same, like in a kind of sad way. It just, I could just see that it wasn't going to have the same spirit, and I think that, like, I really, Thursday's been such a big part of my life and something that I'm so proud of that I don't want to end it as it's supposed to be, you know. And to me, No Devolution is still, it's still the band that, it's still the same people, it's the same spirit, it's the same heart, like, and that's how I want people to remember us.
I'm sorry to hear that. When you look back on when you look back on you know, 13 years of being a band, being on 5 different record labels, having your music videos played on television, you know, having a record be in the top 10 on the Billboard 200,
Right.
all the times that you shared together, all the success, all the failures, all the memories, what comes to mind when you just think of everything that you guys have been through as a band?
I mean, to me, it's just like sort of, as an only child, like learning brotherhood is like kind of like the greatest thing that I've gotten from it. Like getting to know what it's like to get this close with people. And after 13 years, I can safely say like I spent as much time as I would have with any brothers, you know, growing up, going your separate ways and things like that. So that's been like just the blessing for me, you know, and travel. Like you learn so much about yourself and the world, and you do it with your friends. It's amazing, you know. And I never had the feeling that I've not followed a dream, you know. Like every dream that I've ever had, I've gotten to make real. So I really don't know what you could ask for in life more than that, you know.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Yes.
All right,
Thanks, man.
Thanks, brother.
All right, wow.